Hi, I'm Capricornus, and this is Mobile Mayhem, where I talk about the games you keep getting ads for after watching one Crunchyroll video. And we're talking about school idols again today because Love Live All-Stars is finally out. In English, anyway. So I really like Love Live. And despite it being a huge franchise with anime, movies, and tons of short stories and magazine articles, the games have, in my opinion, always been the best way to enjoy it. More of the music, more of the characters playing off each other, and just fun games overall. Love Live School Idol Festival All-Stars, quite the mouthful, is the latest game and does a bit of a divergence from the usual rhythm formula to branch out into a cute idol-based rhythm RPG of all things. While still being developed by K-Lab and published by Bushiroad, it actually brings on the Love Live anime studio Sunrise to do the story as well. There's a lot worth mentioning, and a lot for newcomers and hardcore Love Livers alike. So without further ado, game time. Or rather, RPG plot explaining time. The story revolves around your player character, a high school girl, and your childhood friend Ayumu discovering the world of school idols together after seeing the groups Muse and Aqua perform. You get instantly hooked, as one does when they see a bunch of cute anime girls together, and look into the idol club at your own school, Nijigasaki High. Turns out it's on its last leg, as the club just fractured and kinda split up. With your support, Nijikasaki's school idol club gains more members, finds their own way of doing things, and starts to be able to stand up to Muse and Aqua, while still being friends of course. Because of course. If you're a fan of story-heavy RPGs or visual novels, the story aspect of All-Stars is perfect. Everyone, especially the franchise newcomers of Nijigasaki, are as charming as ever, and the game gives them ample opportunity to just hang out and have fun. They train together, have food eating contests, and confide in their own fears and triumphs, which are usually the kind of stories I just love to experience, period, but it's extra nice to feel like you're part of the group in this story as well. There's a ton of side stories too for one-on-one time with you as the player and your favorite or least favorite characters, and it's definitely helped by just how much effort Love Live puts into all the little details about every character and just how good their voice acting is too. Nijikasaki's idol club members in particular get a lot of focus. It is their story after all, and they're all really fun. Ayuma is your childhood friend and she's super sweet, Rina's a face-hiding tech whiz, Kanata's sleepy, Isaac Yaru punsmith. With 27 characters, there's at least a few everyone can fall in love with and want to follow along in stories. If you want to just use the gameplay as a storybook rather than the rhythm-based RPG the gameplay is, I wouldn't blame you at all. You better stand Ai though, she's the best. So what is the gameplay itself? Like I said before, it's a rhythm RPG. Basically, an RPG with rhythm segments for the meat of its gameplay, rather than, say, combat. The basic structure of the game is to collect different cards of the idols with different stats, level them up, give them items, and as they perform live shows, you cheer them on, which accounts for the rhythm portion. It's easy to explain the gist of it, but honestly it's a lot harder than it sounds, which I actually kinda love. It's got the same kind of vibes as a trading card game almost. Deck building is super important, and having multiple decks for different challenges is encouraged and required. Story mode has live shows interlaced with cutscenes, and some of the challenges can get really tricky, especially in boss shows that have really tricky attacks. It's so fun to think of a rhythm game having bosses, attacks, or even crits, but it's just a ton of fun to say and I'll never get tired of it. Just like any other rhythm game, you hit, hold, and swipe notes as they hit the area you're supposed to hit them in. For what it's worth, the rhythm part of the game actually is super easy, and you can even play it one-handed if you really wanted to. The hard part about live shows is managing buffs and debuffs being flung at you, while your stamina bar here gradually depletes as the songs go on. There's also a fever mode that gives you stamina free notes if you clear the mission it gives you, and absolutely tanks it if you don't. And that's where team building comes in. Some characters are better at healing stamina or preventing stamina loss, some charge your special meter a lot faster, and some just give you a lot of extra score for high scoring and free play. You can give your teams groups too, for extra buffs at the cost of debuffs, and you can give them held items. Story mode, particularly the tutorial chapter, is very well paced and good at showing you the ropes, and the free play section is good for testing out new team combinations. That all said, I both love and hate the actual gameplay. I'm someone who loves deck building for fun, but even then some of the harder story mode bosses or expert mode songs can be insanely hard, or at worst case, you just don't have the right cards for the job. All-Stars, like more popular Japanese mobile games, is gacha based. It's actually got a comparatively generous gacha, but if you're pretty unlucky, you have a very real chance of just being stuck in story mode until you get better cards. Getting items for raising levels or skill trees isn't super hard, but sometimes you can get a little stuck there too by just not having enough coins or these dang macarons to stuff your idols full of. Besides the story and the gameplay, there's a few other things to do in game too. There's free play mode of course, which is a great source of items and gacha rolling currency, and just a good way to listen to your favorite songs over and over again, because man, the music in Love Life is still bopping. There's also a training camp where you can get skill tree items and extra moves for your idols, but it's mostly just fun to see everyone just hang out and train together. It's so cute. There's also frequent events and special promotions too, which, like in any other game, let you compete against other players and get special goodies, including so dearly coveted URs. In the realm of idol raising games, where the enjoyment of the game comes from just getting attached to a few or a lot of characters, that's where the real meat of the game comes in. Raising skill trees unlocks extra character-specific stories, which sometimes get pretty gay, if I may point out, special voice lines, and costumes for the idols to wear during live shows. There's a lot of gorgeous art in the game, with all the beautiful card art, adorable still art during stories, the talk sprites with back-facing angles which is still whack, and all the 3D animation of the live shows and the home screen. Having one of your favorites on your home screen is really fun, just poking away at them to see what they say. I think knowing about Love Live ahead of time helps, but it's a great place to dive headfirst into finding out which one of these girls will be the one to steal your heart, and all the money out of your wallet. It better be I though. It's kind of a shame that, despite getting good Dadaru attachments to the idols being a big deal story-wise, the gacha itself is usually pretty picky about what it does and doesn't give out in terms of characters. Sometimes it can be hard to have characters you've grown to love or already adore to your actual team, unless you're well, you know. Please don't actually wheel them, guys. It's not worth it. You'll get your favorite eventually. Just save your money. Bushi-run doesn't deserve it. On the subject of money, microtransactions aren't actually all that bad. Paying for gems isn't really worth it, but All-Stars, never actually shoves microtransactions in your face like some other games do. You get enough free stuff on the regular to make staying free to play very viable, and the game never punishes you for it. Overall, I think All-Stars is just about as good of a game as the original School Idol Festival, both as a game and for getting into Love Live. The trade-off from having a rhythm game, bad gacha, and okay stories is wonderful stories, a fun but pretty challenging RPG, a less bad gacha, and just this warm sense of bonding you get from not just the idols hanging out with each other, but you too. All-Stars is unique in the deep expanse of Love Live lore in that all the idols are active at the same time, and characters like the two leaders, the student council presidents, and the big foodies can just have their own time to shine and play off each other tremendously. Even if the gameplay isn't your thing, or you just don't like that kind of cute anime girl kind of media, I'd still recommend the game based on the stories and writing alone. They honestly remind me of how I first got into Love Live, and why I stayed with it for so long. It's not just being sucked in by amazing music and pretty costumes. It's enjoying those feelings of unconditional and fun friendship, and being inspired to follow along with something big, grand, and ambitious. Because hey, maybe you can find those friends and follow your own dreams too, someday. Hey, thanks for watching another one of my videos. If you like hearing me talk about Love Live, you should definitely give me a sub and a like and whatever else they do. Honestly, I'm just gonna go back to playing Show by Rock Festival Live. It just came out. Pretty cool. Alright, bye.